Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Yeah.
Right? And part of the seeking is obviously also doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm doing because I'm seeking God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in my seeking, God also knows my expectations. Not even just marriage.
Expectations.
It's
That's something
expectations.
else.
It's like if I seek God, if I do things right in the way that pleases and honor God,
Yes.
there's an expectation that He'll bless it.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Intentional Conversations with myself, Marvin Kimani, and joined by greatness today.
Sure.
Man, she's so great. She had to come back.
You know what I'm saying? Part 2.
Welcome being the first guest
Bro.
on the podcast.
Again.
And then the first guest
second.
that has come again.
return,
We've had that many that tried to come back.
By popular demand, bro.
It is by popular demand. I think it's because we are famous now because of all your friends.
Is it?
Yes.
All your friends, you know. No one comments except when you post, so
You?
it clearly means something.
Oh, man. I'm sure that's not true. I'm so sure that's not true.
Listen, this time that she's joining us, things are a bit different. I think we're all in
There's been a
different
shift
stages.
in
There's been
the
a
air,
shift.
Yeah.
in the atmosphere.
Yes.
Can you not perceive?
Yes, and just in case you're wondering what we're talking about today, I think we're gonna title this one "Singleness Part 2" or something along those lines. We did a podcast. Please go watch that one before you watch this.
Yeah.
Around singleness.
Yeah.
I think we had a good title: "Is Singleness a Curse?" I don't know if we got to the bottom of that, but we're gonna explore more of that today. I think we had questions around our podcast. I think some people were not satisfied with everything, and we'll never really get to the end of it.
Yeah, we'll need a whole year.
So I got some questions, and I think we can bounce off. And then just today we're discussing more freestyle. Last time we were interviewing Unati, but today we just giving her a pass. So one of the questions, I think we're just gonna get right into it. I get lonely, and I feel I have done so much for God. So what do I do if I'm angry with God? Because He hasn't given me a spouse. Is it even okay to be angry at God? Now,
Sure.
I don't know. I know this is like it's a heavy question. So let's break it down so that we can kind of So the first thing she's asking here. First she says she's angry, and she says, "Is it okay to be angry at God?" Yeah. And she gets lonely, and she has done so much for God.
Done so much for God.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like there's so much Nati needs to say.
No!
Yeah, Unati, what do you think?
No, man.
So maybe Unati, what I
Yeah.
could say is before we get to the question,
Yeah.
is probably why do you think somebody would ask this question? So we don't know the person, but we're looking at the why, and so I think maybe that's sort of the bigger question of. I was hoping that by this time or by this age, I would have the spouse that I want.
Yeah.
I was hoping that if I do all the right things and I follow God, I would have
Yeah.
the spouse at the right time.
Yeah.
I thought at 25, but now I'm 39.
Or 40 or 55.
And then isn't those Bobby?
Yo.
And my friends are getting married.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even like the pretty ones are getting married, even the non-pretty ones. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, no, you went there.
But you know when you
Hey.
are dissatisfied, you think things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's natural. I mean, it's a natural part of frustration. Those are the things that come out of frustration when you are especially when you're in a church context, right? And you think that if you do A and B, this is the result, and it's not happening because we consider marriage as a blessing. That
reward.
Yeah, it's a reward. Which is why conversations like this are very important. Because a single person will then think that they are not blessed, because to be blessed is to have, to be in a relationship and be married.
Wait.
Yeah.
Why would somebody think marriage is a reward or having a spouse is a reward?
It's the culture. it's the culture of us idolizing, the idolatry of marriage, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. What's interesting,
That's
even
why.
in that question, Unati, it's like I'm hearing, I've done so much for God. That for me sounds like an entitlement. Like, hey, because I did this and this, and so for me it points to how this person sees God.
Yeah.
Right?
And like I said last time,
Devil's advocate, though.
Yeah, go.
Devil's advocate
Go.
is, if you keep God first, all of these things shall be added unto you.
So
right?
seek first the kingdom.
Seek first, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Let's
you,
not
man.
listen. Yeah, please.
Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Yeah.
Right? And part of the seeking is obviously also doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So
That's
I'm
really good.
doing because I'm seeking God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in my seeking, God also knows my expectations. Not even just marriage.
Expectations.
It's the
That's something
expectations.
else.
It's like if I seek God, if I do things right in the way that pleases and honor God,
Yes.
there's an expectation that He'll bless it.
Yeah.
Is it not?
That is a poor interpretation
Come on.
of scripture.
Oh, please teach.
Mato.
Please teach.
Because I think if we understand one thing, that God firstly is good,
Hey.
and if we understand this scripture in its whole context and the nature of God being good,
Yeah.
that because He is good, He will withhold nothing good from those who walk uprightly, and so if you are trusting in God as this sovereign Father, as this good shepherd, as Him in His nature being good, then you know that His will, if His will is for you to be single, whether it's right now or forever, you know that it is good because He withhold nothing. So He's causing all things to work together for good for all those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And I think that's where a person who's thinking like that must begin, to know that you're serving a good God and you know absolutely nothing apart to what's happening right now. You don't know what's happening tomorrow, the next day and whatever. Why not trust the God who molded you in your mother's womb?
The tension of the in-between is tough.
Yeah.
It's easy to know this.
Yeah.
The tension is the in-between.
Practically, it's difficult.
The tension is the in-between.
Yeah.
But okay, like
When
so
you
I hear
feel like He is holding
Yeah.
the thing that you've been praying and trusting for.
Yeah.
So that's
And
the
the
thing, though.
emotions and
Yeah.
the feelings that come with that.
Yeah.
But are we not called to trust God in those places? Is that not the whole Christian thing?
Yeah.
It is.
It's easy to believe God when things are going fine. Is that really belief?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I have to
push back.
I think it's I wouldn't say they're on polar opposites, but I do know when life is tough and the thing that you've been trusting God for is not coming.
Yes.
Even those who have faith
Yes.
tend to struggle with their faith.
Facts. No facts.
And that becomes a daily hustle. It's the in-between.
I agree.
It is.
Listen,
We don't all wake up every morning.
It
We all
is.
know these.
Yeah.
It
You know the
is.
theory.
And
We
then you
know the
wake up
It is.
with lack of faith.
Yeah.
You wake up with lack of trust. And it's hard to get onto it.
Here's why I'm pushing back.
No matter how strong or how theologically aligned
No,
you
but
are.
here's why I'm pushing back.
Yeah.
Because what I've realized is people will go there and stay there.
Yeah.
So they will be like, because it's hard, right? This thing, right? It's almost as if like, okay, God hasn't said, hey, do this, right? Because with His infinite knowledge and understanding, right? Hey, trust me, I am good. But then you say, okay, in the in-between, it's hard, it's a struggle, and you stay there, it doesn't help you.
It doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
It
And
would
so
lead you into
that
more
tension, we have to
anxiety.
hold both, bro. We have to hold both. Hey, we are
Definitely.
called to, in that place, to be
Yeah.
like, hey, the word says this, I'm going to stand on this.
Yeah.
And it's still tough.
Yeah.
So,
That's the only reason I was pushing back.
no, let's put it. We
Okay.
must push back.
Yes, okay, cool.
No, you actually you both right, because
push back.
tensions will always exist in any context, in any, even if we were talking about marriage itself, tensions exist.
Yeah.
In married couples, and tension exists when you are single. Tension exists when you are trusting God for a job. Tensions exist when
Facts.
there's tensions. You are waiting. It's not nice to wait. It's a frustrating thing. I think we just need to guard our hearts and where we land when we are in that space.
Yes.
It's not like today you can feel fine, like I said the last time.
Yes, it's
And
always
Valentine's comes.
Valentine's.
Sing all these people.
What's that song again, my man? Valentine's is coming. And
Where's your
boyfriend?
You are so lonely.
I'm sure it's gonna come up again.
That's a pursuit.
Listen,
That's a pursuit.
listen. I think I want us to go through as many. Okay,
but I
you wanna-
still feel like I still feel like we need to hit this. I don't think
More
you have to
angles.
go through all of them. Yes.
Okay, sure.
Did we answer the question,
angry with God.
Yes, we
am
did.
I allowed to be angry with God?
I believe that you are. I mean, there is even
Scripture.
a scripture on that. And I mean, Moses got angry at God. We saw David being angry at God. I mean, I don't think it's about suppressing all the emotions that you feel and whatever. I think you should, in fact, that should be exactly what you do, to lay it down, all down.
Yes.
Do you think that if you're going to pretend you're not angry, God is not going to know you're not angry? In
The
any
scripture
case, he's
says-
going to know you are
says,
angry.
Be angry but do not sin. Right?
Hey,
I
that's
feel like maybe
difficult,
I'd be a bit being angry with
that's
God.
difficult.
I feel like the being angry with God is
It's a sinful in itself.
No. I wouldn't say sinful. I would say it's a slippery slope.
Okay.
I would say it's a slippery slope, purely because our anger is fueled by emotions,
Yeah.
and our emotions are up and down themselves.
Yeah.
So I would say, be careful with being angry with God, but always express your emotions and thoughts to God, because now I'm angry with God that I don't have a
spouse.
significant other.
Spouse, yeah.
Then I get into marriage. Then I realize, hey, this spouse.
You were more angry with God. This one was
You were
not the
like,
one.
hey, God, you know me, man.
Spouse.
What is? And then now, you find that you are angry with the spouse, so much so you're angry at God.
Yes.
And so now
spouse.
the anger continues, and it develops to other things that could be unhealthy. So I think I would say always express your emotions to God. That's what we see in the Psalms.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel like if David did it, doesn't mean now I must do it,
So wait.
Angry.
Yes,
you
so
must-
I'm
you
saying
must
like
be angry.
express your emotions
Yeah.
to God.
Yeah.
Like express how you feel to God,
Yes.
Yeah.
and tell God how you feel.
But I also feel that David in his Psalms, his anger was righteous in that, as you see, he's angry now, but he's also appealing to God for something, and it always ends in a very prayerful way, where he's really just looking up to God despite all his anger.
That's what I like about David. You see the full
picture.
spectrum of humanity. And I think for me with this question is thinking about it. Look, Christianity is about a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And you think about your earthly relationships. It's this, right? So you're going through tensions, different things, right? And I think God He wants that. What happens? Well, the unhealthy side of this is when you're angry with God. So you look away. You go off.
Or you
right?
go find your own spouse in.
Yes. Or you do your own
other
thing
ways.
because you're angry. So then it's unhealthy, right? But I do feel like I'm agreeing with just both of you. Just double clicking.
I mean,
as we segue.
It's also just maybe how I would phrase the answer differently. But
Yes.
I agree.
I hear you. So, okay, question 2. I'm trying to get as we don't want to part 3, 4, 5. Chill out. If God is all we need,
Sure.
why do we still long for a spouse? And is God, there's some adding this in here, is God all we need?
I feel that's a question for Lux.
Hey,
seeing that he's
come on.
already married.
Yes, like
and
tell
he
us.
was content being single. You're content being single, now you're married. What happened? Tell us.
Yes.
Tell us, Pella. How? What is this?
We are wondering.
We are wondering here.
What do you think? Should I repeat?
No. I think the whole
Contentment.
contentment in singleness is a tricky one.
What do you mean? Listen, I taught on this, please.
Why are you still lonely if God is all you need?
Yes.
So when I was single, I would say I would say I was fine being single. I wouldn't probably use the word content
Okay.
because I was still looking.
You're not content.
I wouldn't. I feel like I would. I mean, I was okay.
Fine. Let
Yeah,
us
okay,
know.
whatever. Let's say I was good. Let's say.
You're not frustrated.
I was not frustrated.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't just
It's not
gonna.
frustrated,
Yeah.
guys. Come on.
I was not
Say it.
gonna
Sure.
just everyone. Okay, one was the vision and the life that I wanted included a spouse. I wanted. Being very well and aware of it's not guaranteed. The biggest realization of marriage is that probably the easiest thing to do is to get married. The hardest is to stay married.
Sure.
That's, I think, the hardest.
Yes.
Now, I'm privileged enough because I'm married, I guess. Hey!
So how long have you been married, like, just for context?
How many months now?
How
many months?
No, because here, let me tell you
How
why.
many
People
months
say
now?
the first 5 or 3 years are the hardest.
Apparently it's 2 now.
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
2 years.
First 2 years, okay.
People say so. We married 2 years and whatever.
Okay.
It's been bliss.
Nice.
It's been great.
Oh.
Nice. Praise God. Hallelujah.
We must
Come
have,
on.
we must have another
hands.
conversation
We must lay-
with
exactly.
the wife
when
now.
couples-
Yes, we
Oh,
must
yeah,
ask her
yeah,
how,
yeah.
how has it
Maybe it's
been?
Oh, yeah. you
Maybe it's
should-
the one having
He's
a
been
great
having
time.
great time. She's just like, yo.
We actually spend a lot of time with couples. And then we realize, yay,
Hey, people
what
are
happened to
going
us?
real, it's-
Hey, what happened to us? Like,
It's real in this field.
is there something we're missing?
Yeah.
Are we wrong? Are we not? Are we?
Yo,
When we fight, it's all awkward. It's like,
what's happening
yeah, what's
now?
happening?
Oh,
Like,
not used to this.
So I think that for me has been the sort of biggest realization, and the biggest struggle around that is if you are not content, or if you're not happy in God, you won't be happy in marriage.
Yeah, for sure.
Come on.
Which means
Yeah.
that your happiness or your joy must not come from the significant other.
100%.
But there's a beautiful thing, sorry. But there's a beautiful thing that happens when you've got somebody to experience the joys and the trials of life together with.
Yes.
But also knowing that when things are bad, they're not going to be everything that you want them to be. When things are good, they're not going to be everything that you want them to be. So I think the biggest struggle is finding somebody that you are willing to go through all of the highs and the lows, and knowing that this person will never fully satisfy you.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest challenge then when you're single is that you're looking for somebody to satisfy.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, bro.
100%.
And then you then feel like you can't trust God because like how can you not, yet I really need somebody like this.
Yeah. Do you think that's very it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was thinking about the idolatry of marriage. And it's
Yeah.
like because of the idolatry, it's almost like it's not a realistic picture of what you have.
Yeah.
And so even when you get married, you have this thing, this haze or this understanding of what this should be. So when it's not there or it doesn't go that way, it breaks your heart, it messes you up.
Yeah.
You get angry with God, not to go back to that conversation. But
Or we grew up seeing so many bad marriages.
bro,
So much so that you say like, I don't want that.
Marriages.
And then you overdo it. Yeah, so then you overdo it.
You go the other
And then
way.
with you overdoing it, you could end up like ruining such a good thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of issues and traumas that we carry in
Which
our
is-
outlook of relationships.
And then
Yes.
that is also
Which
why it's
affects
so
our marriage.
difficult for people to, to find people to date. And
Yes.
it's not like there's a lack of single people
yes.
to go around, but
trauma.
it's everything that plays in the background. I was saying to a friend that, I think men, they think that when we see a man, we don't see a man. We see rape, we see gender-based violence. We see our worst nightmares, atrocities, and we see dominance,
Yes.
And here people here are preaching submission. What we are seeing is dominance. That's we're not seeing a man, and so it takes some time because what we want more than anything is security and safety. We want to feel safe.
Yes.
And so, yes, a woman may come with all those long lists, but it boils down to as we have trust issues and we want a man who can provide that safety and security.
Yeah.
Because some of us don't even have, we were never loved by a male figure in the entirety of our lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Entirety of our lives.
Yeah.
The very first people who hugged us or gave love, it would be some boyfriend or whatever who will, you know, maybe
not
cheat
even
on
love.
you or whatever and treat you badly as well. And so even when you say, now I'm obviously speaking from a woman's context, I'm not saying that men don't have traumas and men don't have things that they struggle with when they are also seeking for a spouse and whatever.
Yes.
But I do know that from a woman's perspective is that there are women who have decided that they will never get married at all because they cannot break away from the fear. You see a man, you're walking on the street, it's just a man is going to work or whatever, already your guard is down. You know? It's a normal man. He's not wearing whatever, looking. It's just a man. He's walking towards me. I am afraid. I am afraid. We fear men, and it comes off and manifests itself in various
many
ways,
ways.
even relationship. Even though I'm saying to this guy, I love you and whatever, there's so much shame that I've gone through and whatever that he's going to have to deal with.
Yes.
Because here is Unathi with abandonment issues and all that thing, and he has no context. All he sees is just this beautiful lady who is a Christian and whatever, and you know, and is very shocked as why is she acting like this? Why is she so emotionally unavailable?
Unavailable, yeah.
But she is protecting herself.
Yeah.
She is protecting herself in all these defenses, and so there's just a lot of those things, and I don't think that we.
So how did you deal
consider?
with it? Or how are you still dealing with it?
How did I deal with it? I think God dealt with me first before I even met
Your man.
my man.
Hey, hallelujah. Come on.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah,
I told you there's been a shift. I didn't say what
even
is the shift.
saved
There's been a shift.
The name nearly came out. I said no.
Yeah, chill out.
Man.
No, man.
Your man.
No, I didn't know whether to say fiance, husband.
Hey,
Come on.
I'm sorry. It's all us. It's all me.
Man.
It's all me.
Yeah, I think God did some serious groaning, and that's why I want to encourage women to know that God's timing is very perfect. Because I think if I had met him like 3 years or 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been ready for him really.
Yeah.
And in every aspect there is, I wouldn't have been ready. So God did some serious growing, and. Most you guys know he's not from South Africa.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved people, when I went to missions, I began to see that I actually had a serious problem of people from other cultures. And I didn't want to cross culture. As a partner, I wanted someone who's Xhosa, I'm Xhosa.
Hey.
And yet I said I'm Christian and I love people. Actually,
shameless. My
God
sister.
had to teach me. He had to send
You couldn't find a
all
decent
the way to
Xhosa man.
Uganda.
You couldn't find a decent Xhosa man. There's
listen,
so
this is
many
a
of them.
different This is a different
discussion,
podcast.
eh? This is a different discussion.
Listen.
You know, Xhosa women are
you
not
want
wanting
me to-
Xhosa men.
You don't
But-
want my brothers now to get mad at me, please.
So you realize that you actually didn't like other people from other, in terms
I
of
didn't
relationships.
love. I didn't, not deeply. And so God really did some work there.
That's amazing.
And by the time then, my man
Yes.
and I, came through, God had already did a lot of work. And I think God knew that he had to sift a lot of things before I can, be in a relationship and get married. So his
I'm
timing
very
is
happy
good.
to be one of the few lucky recipients of the photos.
Hey,
They're in the
hey.
beginning, you know the beginning.
Very few,
In the
bro.
beginning. What is it? In the
Me,
beginning.
I heard about it like by and by. Like,
In the Beniniki.
I paused. I'm like, wait, what? Come back.
Yeah.
Last year we were talking about this. This year's changed.
It's
the shift.
something else now.
Let's go back, guys. So why am I longing for something more? I think let me take that
Yeah.
because she's saying, he's saying, God is all you need. Why do we still long for a spouse? Why am I longing for something more? So, like Lukola was saying, like you are looking to be satisfied in a person, but you're not created to be satisfied in a person. The only person who can satisfy you, that longing that you have, right? Part of it, yes, is for a spouse, but part of it is Jesus.
Yeah.
Part of it is that place where only God can touch.
Yeah.
And Lukola was saying, you were married right now, right? I think maybe you can speak more into this, right? I don't know if you had that thing like, hey, getting into this with your wife, like this is going to be the apex.
Don't you feel loneliness as you marry? Because some people who are married have advised that they also do feel feelings of loneliness,
Which is interesting.
even with their spouses around, which speaks to what you just said, that can only be filled by Christ.
My God, yeah. So here's a spicy one. This is the one, I think, what do we do with the sexual tension? Yeah. What do we do with the sexual tension? I'm single. I am out here trying to live for the Lord. I'm trying to do things right. What do I do with the sexual tension?
I think, I'm not going to answer it, but I'll answer it
Come on.
by saying a lot of our views of sexuality and even what will satisfy us is built out of either what we've seen on media, what we've heard, what our friends do,
yes,
or is birthed out of our Benjamin issues or our traumas or our lack of having this or having that, you know, or sex is an escapism in some way, shape or form. You know, leaving whatever that you sort of want to leave behind, and so I think answering the deeper question is probably what makes you get there in the first place. Why this? Right? You could be wanting to sniff cocaine for crying out loud, but why this specifically?
Yes.
And sort of looking at it a bit more deeper. At the why, and just I think maybe just being honest at probably, and now there's many different reasons. Maybe you were having the time of your life and then you became a Christian and then you were like, oh snap, can't
do this now, can't do it,
you know,
can't do it.
Or you've been like waiting for your whole
wait.
life and you just feel like it's not coming, coming. Everyone is speaking about it, you know, and so I think there's a lot around it.
I think the question, I hear you, bro. I think the question is more towards, okay, give me some practicals, bro. How do I handle it?
Yeah.
Talk to someone.
Okay, talk.
I think that's also very important. Don't know your own struggles by your own self. I think you really just find yourself in big trouble there.
Okay. So
talk. I think have a conversation, you know, with someone who you trust and whatever. And I think also it's something to challenge us, you know, to actually talk about sex. We don't talk about it. And so when people are going through these things, they are like, I'm going to look like the most unrighteous person ever because I'm having this struggle. Only to find out that everyone is having these struggles.
Yeah.
And it could just be, you know, you could be helped by just be talking about it and being prayed and you know, and people having those practical you know, things that you can do. They can help you.
Very special friend of mine gave me some you know, first let me say this one. My elder, one of my pastors back in the day, he told me, hey, get some exercise. Like, bro, go out, do things that are active.
Did it help?
It helped me personally. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching or listening to our podcast. Why don't you consider just helping us do this more, create content to help people live a life outside of themselves. You can do that by following us on social media, YouTube, all those good things. But specifically consider going on our Patreon and supporting us financially so we can grow the movement, so we can help more people just live for God and live better lives. Thank you. Listen. I'm trying to live right. That's all I'm saying. You see the muscle?
I'm so sorry.
I am in the gym 24/7.
unacceptable. Actually.
24/7. No. So I think that was helpful. On a serious note, I think that was helpful. Because there's just this thing of like, if you're just sitting sedentary or like just sedentary, that even a word, bro. Where your mind goes when you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I think that for me was
the devil give works to idle hands, as that guy says.
Yes.
Yeah.
Facts. I think the other one is to be in community.
Yeah.
Just be around people, like, because I think those two are connected, I guess, right? When you're doing nothing or when you're with people, even if you're just chilling, right? I think that helps avoiding spaces that could inflame
Where the fire
stuff,
and content.
right?
Where the fire.
Content.
And
Content is
and content.
Hey, especially for the younger.
very
Listen,
important.
Let go Netflix.
listen. Like
That's
these,
so brave of you.
bro. I think
Let go
Netflix
of
is too far.
Netflix.
It's too far. Hey, put it back. Put it back.
It's too far now.
Actually, listen, depending on what you struggle, I think for me that had to be a thing, right? I had Netflix, I couldn't just, But I feel like the younger generation, so Gen X, right? I think we are all like millennials. Gen X, their struggle is probably crazier. So I work with youth, and it's like, bro, their phones are their lives.
Sure.
Like literally, right?
Yeah.
They don't know another life, almost.
Yeah.
Like with us, I think there is that, like, we weren't so much in the internet, then we were, right? With them, it's like from their books or on the iPad, right? They watch stuff on the, you know what I'm saying? So that thing for me is like really scary. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think it's just something maybe even for any younger people watching us. I think just, use wisdom in using your devices and like the internet, bro. Like I think that thing is, it's a problem. And anyway.
Yeah.
You can't unsee things. Once you see them, you can't unsee them.
Yeah. Sexual tension, so I think we got some practicals out.
And you'll have it for life.
Hey, right? It doesn't go anywhere.
It
doesn't leave you.
I wish I could say it goes away.
It doesn't leave. Yeah. We will speak on that a bit, bro, because you're in marriage. Yeah.
So the battle for purity is a lifelong battle. And it obviously takes a different form in marriage, but it's a lifelong battle. And I think it's a battle that you fall and consistently have to sort of get back up on.
Sure.
Because I guess, Jesus holds the standard very high. And the standard isn't I slept with the whatever. It's actually the standard is much higher than I looked and lusted. Like I looked and I desired. I looked and I wanted. And that's how the first sin sort of started. And so maybe the looking and the wanting is a lifelong.
It is.
And so I think it's being aware that it's a fight that we have to be
doesn't end at
consistently and readily fighting.
Yes, it doesn't end when you get married, because I think that's also the other lie, right? Like, hey, I'll stop when,
when I find
I'll be fine when I get that spouse. So,
and then,
Anyway.
I just have one question, like what do you think the church of people who are working with young adults, in what ways can they sort of help, not really help, but, just to have a discussion on these kind of topics? I mean, I do know that there are some youth church leaders who speak about that topic in very unhelpful ways, where it just messes up kids. Like
Give an example of that unhelpful, because I've heard this before.
Like they are very
condemning or
there's the condemning thing where now a child is terrified.
Yes.
To even, say hi to a girl.
To a girl, yeah.
There is that, because it's terrible, it's very unhelpful.
Yes.
And the other unhelpful one is someone that has a very dirty mind, a very graphic to kids. And you have kids who coming from all different, it's too much. It's not PG, it's taken to other. So that's...
So they're trying to scare them as well or something, or I don't know.
Oh, it's just very nasty.
Okay, got you, okay. Yeah.
So those are very unhelpful. So I think that's why many churches or Christians or believers just stay away, because it's rare that you find, people who will speak about such things in a very helpful way, in a very encouraging way. Because the
Listen.
pastor who
Listen.
spoke about Song of Solomon's in a very unhelpful way.
To young
To
people?
such an extent where I just didn't touch that book for a very long time.
I hear you.
I was traumatized.
Yeah.
I'm traumatized, in
Yeah.
fact.
I like that question, Unathi. I think it's...
I think I know this pastor and the
It
sermon
was
series.
very unhelpful.
yeah.
No, I skip. You only sing Song of Solomon's. I fly.
Yeah. So I don't think I have an answer for you, but I do know like it's such a needed discussion though. I feel like I grew up in youth group, and I can count not on my 3 fingers how many times that was something that was discussed, and only once that I remember what they spoke about. Like all those 3 times in my whole entire youth time.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: me working with youth, me myself, I haven't. We have. But I can say that I think it's awkward, firstly. So getting over that awkwardness.
Yeah.
But if we don't, then the consequences are much dire. And
Yeah.
I've seen that,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm not answering your question. I'm just, I think, adding, and maybe Lukolo, you have something here for us. But it's like,
you work
there is
with
definitely, I think just being biblical about it, I think that was helpful. Like maybe going as biblical as you can. The one I remember, let me tell you, this one time that actually it was the same pastor who gave me that advice. He did such a great illustration, right? But it wasn't like, hey, sit down, we're gonna talk about sex now, right? It was just like part of his teaching, and he went into it, right?
Okay.
And I think with young people, I think illustrations are helpful. I don't know if that's as much I can give you guys. I think try and use illustrations or maybe stories about your life, bring testimonies in. Obviously with wisdom, with what you're saying. I don't know what this pastor talked about. I can imagine.
What? I
You
think
should post it on intentional conversation.
I think what we don't talk about,
Yeah.
if what we don't talk about,
Yeah.
the youth or people will be discipled by something else.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
And so the problem is we're competing with the Netflix
Bro.
Yeah.
in our sex education.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's some sex education on Netflix or whatever
A
it
lot.
is.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Social
Yeah.
media. TikTok.
Social media. And so I think what we run away from, you must know that they are running to that very thing somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because
And there's no
the
PG
conversation around sexuality is also very tied to gender, yeah?
Yes.
And that's obviously another big
A discussion.
another
Yeah,
big
for sure.
discussion, yeah. Well, and I don't see enough. But you guys are the leaders.
Listen, on that note, let's go to the next one. And I really like this one. I think this one, especially for women, I've heard it from women before. I think it's easier for guys to answer this, or I don't know, maybe we'll see. How active should I be in the process of searching for a spouse? Should I leave it all to God? How active should I be in the process of searching for a spouse? Should I leave it all to God?
Yeah, well, I searched.
That's what you know. You searched.
I searched.
You're active.
Did you bounce
How
in
active?
wrong corners
How active?
for a while and then you like
Landed?
go to the landed?
I searched in what I would consider very normal ways.
Yeah.
I just would have my eyes open if I go to a
Tinder.
Come on.
not yet.
What's the Christian
Oh.
one? There's a Christian one.
What do you
Christian
mean
Mingle.
Oh, Christian Mingle. You were on Christian Mingle.
No. No, I was never on Christian Mingle. And there's nothing wrong. I don't think there's also
Yeah,
something wrong
like I thought
with people
I
being
heard
on.
you say you were.
On Christian Mingle?
cup of
Nah, bro. my landscape was pretty
Listen,
cool.
I would not be his friend. Let me just say.
My landscape was pretty decent, so I
Come
didn't
on.
have to go online.
Yeah.
Not that there is
There is a
wrong
fair
with it.
advantage.
There's nothing wrong with it.
There
Remember
is a
the
fair
last one,
advantage
I
of
tried to
being-
bring this balance in. There's nothing wrong with it, guys.
There's nothing wrong with it. Well, good conversation.
Guys, can you please
Wow.
talk, please?
Okay, yeah.
I
Because
wouldn't say there's
English,
I
I believe.
say it's okay if someone else does it, you know.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, listen, if that's your cup of tea.
There is
With
also
wisdom,
a
with wisdom.
fair advantage that Christian men have that Christian women don't have.
Yeah.
There is also a fair advantage even if you're not Christian, or unfair advantage.
Okay.
There's
Elaborate.
an unfair advantage for Christian men there's more Christian women than there are Christian men.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
for sure.
So numbers?
I agree there. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, it's 1 to 10.
Yeah.
You know, for every 10 Christian ladies, there's one guy.
Is that true?
Yeah,
bro?
especially if you are in a small church, you find like there is
Yes.
like 2 guys
most-
who are single.
Most
Okay.
churches
And
will have
even those
more
ones are
females than they will have
interesting.
males.
Yeah, true. That's true.
So, which then says the landscape is a bit tougher. And so, the unfair advantage that me and you have as males is that
Numbers, we
for
have choice.
females, it's a bit harder for them.
Yeah.
And so, my searching is not searching. I'm just at a show. And then there's like,
and there's women.
Options.
you know, it's like,
Yeah, but you can go
oh Lord,
wrong,
where are
though.
you leading me today? You know?
yes.
Where it's harder for them because
I'm judging you.
you guys, you're looking at like the same 5 guys, Joe.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was just saying. That you go to a small church and there's like 3 single guys. And even those 3 single guys
They're
Yeah.
not your cup
are
of tea.
very interesting. I said interesting.
Okay, sure.
They are super interesting, these
Yes.
3 guys that are
Wow.
available.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So
One day I'll
then
tell you.
basically it's at 0 then.
Okay. Basically, yeah.
Because, yeah. So a person who is in that context, who is in a small church with a few guys who are single, who are interesting,
Yes.
the single ones,
Yes.
you know, how active can those people be? Like, you know, and where can they find
So, yeah.
the guys who are not interested?
I also, one day I'll tell you about my Christian single days.
Listen, wait, Lukola. I think she,
Offline.
I think with ladies.
Offline, when you take me out.
Okay.
Should I leave it? Should
Am
I
I
leave
allowed
it all
to
to
even
God?
say that? Hey, my
You
man.
are allowed, you are allowed.
Because now,
Should I leave it all to God? No. I think if I'm going to answer this, you should not leave it all to God. I think biblically, from what we can see,
Yeah.
there's a way that you put yourself out there. How that looks like, I think that's a bigger, longer discussion.
Yeah.
So I think if you come from that small church, you're a lady, hey, listen, church is not the only place that you can meet Christians. Well, it's one of the places, right? You have friends who have friends. I don't know, you got hiking groups. If you're in Cape Town, you know, Cape Town, they say, that's where all the guys take women like for first date.
Yeah.
And they make them sweat up the mountain or some crazy thing like that. Anyway.
And Marvin
That's
is not
exciting.
saying, because brother,
Please.
you must say what you're not saying either.
Please balance, yeah.
Marvin here is not saying that you are helping God.
Hey, please.
As you are going out there, you are helping God.
No,
you're not.
no. It
Because
does
you
not
said
need your help.
you mustn't leave it all to God.
Yeah.
It's not meaning that, you
Yeah.
are helping God, but God also, you know, doesn't condemn passive, passive
You
kind of
Yes,
situation.
Yes. Well, faith
You know,
without
in
works is
everything.
dead.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just
Believing in-
wanted to
I love it. No,
dump in
thank
there
you. Hey,
because
listen,
people are on, I think,
cancel
they're helping
culture.
God now.
Final question. I think there's more we could talk on that, but just because of time.
Wow.
Does being content mean I've relinquished my desire to marry? And when are you really content? I think one of you guys can answer that, and then I'll close. Let me
Just
repeat.
one.
Does being
I just have a
content,
comment.
okay? Does being content mean I've relinquished my desire to marry? Like because I feel fine, I mean okay, no.
Yeah, that's actually you know, I've done so many singles talk and
Yes.
discussions and stuff, and
Yes.
and so when I got engaged, you know there were comments. Weren't you content? Why are you engaged now? You know what's happening.
Yes.
And I think we also briefly touched on it on our
Yes.
first discussion, that
Yes.
the other is not a synonym for the other. You know, to be content doesn't
Both
mean
can
you
exist at the
don't
same time.
desire marriage. And then today you actually unpacked what that meant and what it looked. And so I don't think we're going to do it. They can just rewind
Review.
and go to
Yes, please
go to your
watch.
point.
Please watch our last podcast before that.
Yeah.
Before this one, it's on singleness. So I think we
Yeah.
answered that question there.
I think contentment
Final-
is a tension between what you want
Yes.
and accepting where you are.
What you want and accepting.
And
where you are.
accepting, so being at peace with where you are.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And that sort of tension, you'll always have it in all your life.
Yes.
Even when you're married.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
for every other thing. I want a
Yeah.
new phone,
Yeah.
but I'm content with what I
Yes,
have.
that's
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to hate this phone. I'm not going to take this phone and throw it to the ground.
Yeah.
And expect after that,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm gonna get this phone. You know, like I'm at peace with where I at, with what I have, but I still want more.
I think what's important there, bro, is that part of being content. Just get to the content part, because I feel like there's people who are not.
Yeah.
And now there's no tension.
But I think it's also the get there, but just know that being there is also going to be a tension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your life mustn't be driven by that tension.
By that tension,
You know,
Yes.
now you are
Yes.
depressed, you're miserable. You can't even be happy for
Someone
people
else.
who are getting married or the things that are happening. You have this bitterness. That is really a picture of someone who is not content.
Yeah.
You are characterized. What is that? Finish the sentence.
Listen, characterize it?
Characterized?
That's it.
Hey, listen, English.
But yeah, by this, I don't know, this bitterness.
Yes.
It's really controlling you.
Consumes
You
you.
are so unhappy. You are miserable, and you're very loud about it. In fact, and because you want what you want, and you want it right now, and you are not willing to understand why you don't get it.
And that's,
Can I
I think it's a bad place
one last
to
question?
be in.
Please, bro.
One last question. I'm a single Christian guy.
Yeah.
What do I do? How would you look at it back in your days? What are the irritating
They
things we did?
Yeah.
In what way? In what?
What
way?
were
they're
the
pursuing, they
irritating
want
things
Those
in the
interesting
pursuit?
guys, please help the interesting
Yes,
guys.
the
in your
interesting
church.
guy. I'm
Not your
Christian,
church,
I'm
but
single,
in a church.
I'm a man. What were the very irritating Christian men things?
I think one thing that irritated me about Christian guys and stuff is that I just felt like they wanted a Jesus Christ that was in a form of a woman. You know,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
not.
yes.
I'm Unati.
Mary. Yeah, you must
I
be
am
Mary.
Unati.
Oh,
you know?
man.
Yeah.
And I marry a henna or whatever, you
yes,
know.
yes.
Remember, they are people as well, you know.
Yeah, but they
And
heads.
yeah, exactly. And so that is what irritated me.
Then, what are the Christian women things that they are doing that they're single that you would advise them to consider or to stop doing? That you are seeing or that you are doing before you hit the jackpot?
Come on, it's a jackpot now, bro. The reward, the blessing of the Lord.
The
Come on.
blessing.
The Christian women should stop.
Yeah.
Gosh, you know.
Please don't get
You
us
put it.
cancelled.
I'm gonna get you all cancelled. Now. Let me just take the easier one.
No, I want the hard one. I want the truth. I want the truth. I want the
Yeah, guys.
No. Give it to us. Give it to us.
Please, we need it.
I think generally, I think, and it goes back to just entertaining a man, whether it's on WhatsApp or whatever, that you're having an emotional relationship with this person. And yeah, I think that needs to stop because then you find out that this someone is getting married tomorrow. And we as a group of women now have to deal with your situation,
What a
which we didn't know it
legend.
was a situation.
My word.
That needs to stop. You know, this. If you have to uninstall the WhatsApp,
Please.
Do it.
if you can, because
So all you are saying is that Christian women need to stop entertaining men and being attached emotionally
If there's no.
yeah,
if there's no true intention of,
yes,
or understanding of where
yes,
this thing
exactly,
is going.
Yes.
Exactly.
But she's just a friend, Unati.
Yeah.
We're just talking.
We're just talking.
talking stage.
Where are the boundaries, right? Where are the boundaries? I mean, you are. Let's not get.
Yeah, let's not get there.
On that note, guys, thank you so much for watching our podcast or listening. Please do consider reviewing it wherever you're watching it, wherever you're listening to it on. Please, we do value, guys, and I think the more you share, the more you comment, the more you subscribe, the more obviously we get out there, and that's how you support us. Yeah, until the next one, I hope you guys loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let us know what you guys thought about it.
Bye.
Damn.